The Great Hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with quiet conversation. Representatives from 12 different alien species sat in a perfect circle, their various forms creating a strange but beautiful display. Some had blue skin and 4 arms. Others looked like giant insects with shiny shells. A few resembled walking trees with golden leaves. Ambassador Zekthar stepped forward to the center of the hall. His people, the hegemony, had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. They were tall and thin, with gray skin and large black eyes. Today, like every year, he would tell the story of the lost humans. Friends and fellow beings, Zekthar began, his voice carrying across the silent hall. Today we remember the humans of Sol 3, the planet they called Earth. 500 years ago, their star went crazy and destroyed everything. The humans never made it to space. They never got to join us here in the stars. The other aliens nodded sadly. They had heard this story many times. It was always the same. Humans had shown promise but died before they could travel between stars. The galaxy mourned what could have been. The humans were young and wild. Zekthar continued. They fought wars with each other. They damaged their planet. But they also showed great creativity and courage. We can only imagine what they might have given to our peaceful galaxy. Senator Vithel from the Crystal Worlds raised one of her 4 hands. Were they really as dangerous as the old reports say? Zekthar's expression became serious. The humans were unpredictable. They changed fast, maybe too fast. Their emotions ran hot. They could be kind one moment and violent the next. Perhaps it was better that the cosmos claimed them before they could spread chaos among the stars. The other council members agreed. They had built a perfect galaxy without war for 3,000 years. No conflict, no chaos, just peace under the council's wise rule. But far away from the capital world, strange things were happening. On the mining planet Xerion 7, old prospector Gruul was digging deep into an asteroid when his drill hit something metal. This was not normal. Asteroids did not have metal structures inside them. When he pulled out his drill, he found pieces of strange material. The metal was unlike anything he had seen before. It was strong but light, and it had markings on it that looked like writing. Gruul took the metal pieces to his supervisor, a Veth woman named Lyra. She studied the markings with her scanner. "This is impossible," she muttered. "These symbols don't match any language in our database. Maybe it's from the old times?" Gruul suggested. "Before the council?" Lyra shook her head. "No, this metal is too advanced. Look at these molecular structures. This technology is better than ours." They reported the find to the council investigation fleet, but Commander Veloth dismissed it with a wave of his 3-fingered hand. "Space junk," he said, "probably from some old ship that crashed there years ago." But Commander Veloth was not as sure as he sounded. This was the 5th strange report this month. Deep space traders were finding derelict ships with unknown technology. Scientists were discovering ruins on dead planets that did not match any known civilization. Most strange of all, some miners reported hearing radio signals in a language their computers called English. English was supposed to be a human language, but humans were extinct. Commander Veloth sat in his private office looking at the reports spread across his desk. All of them mentioned the same things. Advanced technology that did not match council databases, symbols and writing that looked human, and radio signals from empty space. The official story was clear. Earth's star had exploded. All humans died. There were no survivors. So why did these reports keep coming? Veloth activated his secure communication system and called his old friend, Dr. Kesara, a historian who worked in the council archives. "Kes, I need you to look up the human extinction event again," he said. "Why? You know the story. Solar flare destroyed their planet 500 years ago. Just humor me. Check the original reports." There was a long pause. "Veloth, those files are classified at the highest level. Even I can't access them without special permission." This surprised Veloth. Why would historical records be classified? What was there to hide about a natural disaster? "Who has access to those files?" he asked. "Only the High Council. The original 12 species who founded our government." After ending the call, Veloth sat back in his chair and thought. Something was wrong with the human story. Natural disasters did not require classified files. Why would the most powerful beings in the galaxy hide information about an extinct species? Meanwhile, on the frontier world of Kepler 442b, Dr. Kira Chen was having her own problems with impossible discoveries. Chen was a xenoarchaeologist, someone who studied the remains of alien civilizations. She had been sent to Kepler 442b to survey the planet before it was open to colonists. The planet was supposed to be empty. No signs of life, no ruins, no technology, just rock and water and empty land. But Chen's deep scanners had found something buried under the northern continent. Something big. She had been digging for 3 days when she found the entrance. It was a metal door built into the side of a cliff, hidden behind centuries of rock and soil. The door was covered with symbols that made her heart race. The symbols looked human. Chen had studied human artifacts before. The Council kept a small museum of human items that had been recovered from space before Earth's destruction. She recognized the angular letters and simple drawings, but this was impossible. Humans had never traveled to other planets. They had died on Earth before developing space travel. Chen used her plasma cutter to open the door. Inside, she found a tunnel that led deep underground. Her lights revealed smooth walls covered with more human writing. The tunnel ended at another door, and beyond that door was something that changed everything. The room was huge, filled with machines and computers that still hummed with power. Display screens showed star maps and technical diagrams. In the center of the room sat a large computer terminal with human words on its screen. Colonial Database, Terra Nova Station. Chen's hand shook as she approached the terminal. According to the Council, humans had never built colonies. They had never even left their home planet. She touched the screen and it came to life. Files opened, showing her things that should not exist. Records of human ships leaving Earth. Maps of secret colonies scattered across the galaxy. Technical blueprints for advanced spacecraft and weapons. And most shocking of all, a date log showing that this base had been active just 10 years ago. Humans were not extinct. They were alive, and they had been hiding in the galaxy for 500 years. Chen quickly began copying the files to her portable storage device. This information would change everything the galaxy believed about humans and about the Council itself. But as she worked, she did not notice the small transmitter that had activated when she entered the room. Her presence had triggered an automatic signal, one that traveled instantly across space to reach ears that had been waiting centuries to hear it. Far away, in a hidden base that did not appear on any Council map, alarms began to sound. The humans were about to stop hiding. The galaxy was about to learn that some truths cannot stay buried forever. Dr. Kira Chen worked through the night, copying files from the human database. Each file she opened made her more shocked. The humans had not just survived, they had built a secret civilization across dozens of star systems. The computer showed her records of human colonies with names like New California and Armstrong Station. There were technical designs for ships that could travel faster than anything the Council had ever built. Most amazing of all, there were communication logs between human colonies that were dated just months ago. "This is incredible," Chen whispered to herself. "They've been out there all this time." She found a file labeled Project Exodus and opened it. The document explained everything. 50 years before Earth's supposed destruction, human scientists had detected something wrong with their star. They had secretly built colony ships and sent them to distant planets. When Earth's star finally exploded, most humans were already safe in hidden settlements. But why hide for 500 years? Chen found the answer in another file called Council Threat Assessment. The document contained intercepted communications between Council species from before Earth's destruction. The aliens had been watching humans and were afraid of them. Humans developed technology too fast. They were too aggressive, too unpredictable. Several Council species had discussed destroying human civilization before it could spread to the stars. They planned to kill us all, Chen realized. The Earth's destruction had not been natural. The Council had caused it, believing they had wiped out the entire human race. But the humans who escaped had learned to stay hidden. They built their colonies in star systems the Council thought were empty. They developed new technology in secret, and they waited. Chen copied the last of the files and prepared to leave. She had to get this information to the Council. The galaxy needed to know the truth, but as she reached the tunnel entrance, her communication device beeped with an urgent message. It was from her research ship in orbit. "Dr. Chen, we're detecting incoming Council warships," her pilot reported. 3 heavy cruisers moving fast. They'll be here in 2 hours. Chen's blood went cold. Somehow the Council knew she was here. They were coming to stop her from revealing the truth. She ran back to her ship as fast as she could. Her pilot, a young Zellan named Torx, helped her aboard. "We need to leave immediately," she told him. "I found something the Council doesn't want anyone to see." Torx prepared the ship for takeoff, but Chen stopped him. "Wait. First, I need to transmit this data." She connected her storage device to the ship's communication system and began uploading the human database to the Galactic Information Network. But as the transmission started, warning lights flashed on her console. "They're jamming our signals," Torx reported. "The Council ships are blocking all communications." Chen watched her transmission progress bar crawl forward slowly. Only 30% complete when the first Council ship appeared in the sky above them. "Unknown vessel, you are in violation of archaeological protection protocols," came a stern voice over the radio. "Shut down your transmitters and prepare to be boarded." "Keep transmitting," Chen ordered. "No matter what happens." The Council ships opened fire, but they were not trying to destroy Chen's ship. They were using stun weapons to disable her engines. They wanted her alive, probably to question her about what she had found. The transmission reached 60% when Chen's ship shuddered under the Council's attack. Sparks flew from damaged circuits and the lights flickered. "I can't keep the transmitters running much longer," Torx warned. That's when something impossible happened. Chen's communication system detected a new signal source, one that was not being jammed. A hidden transmitter in the underground facility had activated automatically when it detected her attempt to broadcast the files. "Unknown relay station responding," her computer announced, boosting signal strength. Suddenly, Chen's transmission speed doubled, then tripled. The human database was being uploaded to dozens of relay stations across the galaxy. Stations that had been sleeping for centuries but were now waking up. The Council ships detected the new transmissions and became frantic. "All units, locate and destroy those relay stations immediately." But it was too late. The relay stations were scattered across hundreds of star systems, and they were all transmitting at once. The human database, with all its evidence of survival and Council deception, was spreading across the galactic network faster than the Council could stop it. Chen watched her console as the transmission reached 100%. Every computer terminal, every data pad, every communication device in the galaxy was now receiving the truth about humans. The Council ship above her charged its main weapon. This time they were not using stun settings. "Dr. Chen," came the voice over the radio, "you have doomed this galaxy to chaos." The energy beam struck Chen's ship and everything went white. Across the galaxy, beings of every species stopped what they were doing to stare at their screens. The human files were spreading through every network, translated automatically into thousands of languages. On the Council capital world, Ambassador Zekthar's assistant burst into his office. "Sir, you need to see this," she gasped, holding up a datapad. Zekthar read the human files with growing horror. Maps of human colonies, technical specifications for advanced weapons, most damaging of all, recordings of Council meetings from 500 years ago, where the leaders discussed the human problem and planned Earth's destruction. "Get me the High Council," Zekthar ordered. Emergency session. But it was too late for damage control. On every world in the galaxy, people were learning that humans were alive and that the Council had lied to them for centuries. On the mining world where Old Gruul had found the strange metal, workers gathered around screens to read about human technology. The metal pieces Gruul had discovered were fragments from a human ship that had crashed decades ago. On research stations and trading posts, on colony worlds and space cities, the reaction was the same: shock, anger, and fear. If the Council had lied about humans, what else had they hidden? Commander Veloth sat in his office reading the human files with a mixture of anger and admiration. The evidence was overwhelming. The Council had committed genocide, or tried to, and the humans had not only survived but had spent 5 centuries becoming something the galaxy had never seen before. The technical specifications in the human database showed ships that could travel twice as fast as Council vessels, weapons that could punch through any known shield. Most impressive of all, adaptive artificial intelligence that could learn and evolve in real time. "They've been out there all this time," Veloth muttered. "Learning, growing, preparing." His communication system beeped with an incoming message. The signal was coming from deep space, from a location that showed as empty on all Council star charts. Veloth opened the channel. and for the first time in 500 years, a human face appeared on a council screen. The woman was middle-aged with short gray hair and hard blue eyes. She wore a military uniform that looked both familiar and alien. Behind her, Veloth could see the bridge of a spacecraft that was clearly beyond anything the council had ever built. "My name is Admiral Sarah Rodriguez," the human said. "I represent the Human Colonial Defense Force. We've been waiting a long time to have this conversation." Veloth stared at the screen. "You're supposed to be extinct." Admiral Rodriguez smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "That's what you told the galaxy. But you know what? Reports of our death have been greatly exaggerated." "What do you want?" Veloth asked. "Justice," Rodriguez replied. "You tried to murder our entire species. You've kept the galaxy under your boot for centuries. That ends now." The transmission ended, leaving Veloth staring at a blank screen. Around him, alarms began sounding as reports came in from across the galaxy. Unknown ships were appearing in empty star systems. Massive fleets that had been hidden for 500 years were revealing themselves. The humans were coming out of the shadows, and they were not the primitive species the Council remembered. They had become something new, something dangerous. The galaxy was about to change forever. The Galactic Council emergency session was unlike anything in 3,000 years of recorded history. Representatives from all 12 member species sat around the great table, their usual calm replaced by panic and anger. High Counselor Yethmon, leader of the hegemony, stood at the center of the room. His gray skin looked almost white with stress. Around him, holographic displays showed the impossible. Dozens of human fleets emerging from supposedly empty space. "How many ships are we detecting?" asked Senator Vithel from the Crystal Worlds. "Over 200 vessels," reported the military coordinator. "And they're using technology we don't understand. Our sensors can barely track them." The room erupted in frightened voices. Some species demanded immediate military action. Others wanted to try negotiation. A few suggested surrender, silence. Yethmon's voice boomed across the chamber. "We created this situation. Now we must deal with it." Ambassador Zekthar stood up slowly.
"High Counselor, the humans are requesting permission to address this body." "Absolutely not," snapped General Croth of the Warcast.
"We do not negotiate with terrorists." "They're not terrorists," Zekthar replied quietly. "They're survivors of genocide. Our genocide." Before anyone could respond, every screen in the chamber flickered and displayed the same image. Admiral Sarah Rodriguez, standing on the bridge of her flagship. The humans had taken control of the Council's own communication system. "Greetings, Galactic Council," Admiral Rodriguez said. Her voice was calm, but her eyes burned with 5 centuries of anger. "I'm Admiral Rodriguez of the Human Colonial Defense Force. I believe we have some things to discuss." High Counselor Yethmon stepped forward. "Admiral, you are in violation of galactic space. Remove your fleets immediately and we may consider peaceful negotiations." Rodriguez laughed, a sound without humor. "Consider peaceful negotiations? You tried to wipe out my entire species. You destroyed our homeworld. You told the galaxy we never existed. And now you want to dictate terms? That was 500 years ago," Yethmon protested. "The beings responsible are long dead. But their legacy lives on," Rodriguez replied. "Your council still rules through fear and deception. You still suppress any species that might challenge your authority. Well, guess what? We're challenging it now." The Admiral gestured to someone off-screen and the display changed to show a map of the galaxy. Red dots appeared across the star chart, each one marking a human colony or fleet position. For 5 centuries, we've been out here, learning, growing, building, and we haven't been alone. New dots appeared on the map, blue ones, green ones, yellow ones. Each color represented a different alien species. The Vethkari, who you enslaved and called primitive. They've been our allies for 200 years. The Kalari traders, who you taxed into poverty. The Zephyrian refugees, who you drove from their homeworlds. They're all with us now. Senator Corlex of the Mining Guild leaned forward. "What do you want from us?" "Justice," Rodriguez answered, "and freedom for every species you've oppressed. But first we want the truth. Tell the galaxy what really happened to Earth." High Counselor Yethmon's shoulders slumped. "You already know the truth." "Yes, but they don't." Rodriguez gestured toward the camera. "Tell them. Tell every being in the galaxy what your precious council did to an entire world." The silence stretched for long minutes. Finally, Yethmon spoke. 500 years ago, human civilization was advancing rapidly, too rapidly. Our projections showed they would develop faster than light travel within decades. Their aggressive nature and unpredictable emotions made them a threat to galactic stability. His voice grew quieter, so we acted. We destabilized their star using quantum resonance weapons. The solar flare that destroyed Earth was not natural. We caused it, believing it would eliminate the human threat while appearing to be a cosmic accident. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Even some council members had not known the full truth. But unknown to us, Yethmon continued, the humans had already detected the instability in their star. They had built colony ships and evacuated most of their population to hidden worlds. Our weapon only killed those who chose to stay behind to maintain the deception. Admiral Rodriguez nodded grimly. 3 billion humans died that day. My grandmother was one of them. She stayed on Earth to send the final evacuation signals, knowing she would never escape. The Admiral's image disappeared, replaced by tactical displays showing the current military situation. Human fleets surrounded the Council's most important worlds. Their ships moved in formations that defied known physics, appearing and disappearing like ghosts. On the Council capital world, panic was spreading through the streets. Citizens watched the broadcasts in shock and fear. Their government had committed genocide and lied about it for centuries. What else had they hidden? Commander Veloth watched from his office as chaos erupted around him. His communication system showed reports from across the galaxy. On dozens of worlds, local populations were rising up against Council authority. Some demanded answers. Others wanted the Council representatives arrested for war crimes. His door chimed and his assistant entered. Sir, we're receiving surrender requests from 17 Council outposts. They don't want to fight the humans, Veloth wasn't surprised. The technical data in the human database had shown weapons and defenses far beyond anything the Council possessed. A war with the humans would be a massacre. What about our fleet commanders? He asked. Mixed responses, sir. Some want to fight. Others are requesting orders to stand down. Before Veloth could respond, his screens flickered again. This time the image showed not Admiral Rodriguez but a massive space station. It was clearly human-built, but unlike anything in their historical records. The station was beautiful and terrible, its hull gleaming with energy shields and bristling with weapons. This is New Geneva Station, came a new voice. A younger human appeared on screen, wearing the uniform of a ship captain. I'm Captain Marcus Webb. Admiral Rodriguez wanted you to see what we've built while you thought we were dead. The camera panned across the station's interior, showing cities in space, vast manufacturing centers, and laboratories where humans and aliens work together. The technology was breathtaking. Artificial gravity generators, matter converters, and computers that seemed to think for themselves. We didn't spend 500 years hiding in caves, Captain Webb explained. We built a civilization. We made friends with the species you oppressed. We developed technology you can't imagine, and we prepared for this day. The scene changed to show human colonies on dozens of worlds. Each one was a marvel of engineering and environmental harmony. Instead of exploiting their planets like the Council species did, humans had learned to work with natural systems. We're not the savage primitives you remember, Webb continued. We've grown up. We've learned from our mistakes. But we haven't forgotten what you did to us. Back in the Council chamber, the debate had devolved into shouting matches. Some species wanted to surrender immediately. Others demanded a fight to the death. A few suggested fleeing to distant galaxies. General Croth slammed his fist on the table. We cannot show weakness. If we surrender to these humans, every species in the galaxy will think they can challenge us. Look around you, Zekthar replied wearily. They already are challenging us. And they're winning. High Counselor Yethmon called for order. We need to make a decision. The humans are giving us one chance to surrender peacefully. And if we refuse? Asked Senator Vithel. The answer came from Admiral Rodriguez, who had resumed control of their communication system. Then we stop asking nicely. The Admiral's image was replaced by a tactical display showing the space around the Council capital world. 40 human warships had appeared in formation around the planet. They had somehow bypassed every defense, every warning system, every sensor network. You have 12 hours, Rodriguez announced. Surrender yourselves for war crimes trials or we will remove you from power by force. The choice is yours. The transmission ended, leaving the Council chamber in stunned silence. High Counselor Yethmon looked around the table at his fellow leaders. 500 years ago, their predecessors had tried to solve the human problem with genocide. They had failed, and now the consequences of that failure had come home. Outside the chamber windows, the human ships waited like silent judges. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see if the most powerful government in known space would surrender to the species they had tried to destroy. The age of the Galactic Council was ending. The age of humanity had begun. The 12 hours passed like a slow death for the Galactic Council. High Counselor Yethmon stood in his private chambers, watching human ships patrol the space around his world. Their vessels moved with impossible grace, bending the laws of physics in ways that hurt his brain to consider. A soft chime indicated someone at his door. General Croth entered without waiting for permission, his war-cast features twisted with anger. "We cannot surrender," Croth declared. "I have spoken with fleet commanders across the galaxy. Many are willing to fight." Yethmon turned from the window. "With what? You've seen their technology. Our weapons are 500 years behind theirs." "Numbers," Croth replied. "We have 10,000 ships across all our fleets. They have perhaps 300. Quality defeats quantity, General. Always has." Their argument was interrupted by an urgent communication from Admiral Thexara, commander of the Second Fleet. Her image appeared on the wall screen, but something was wrong. The background behind her showed stars instead of her ship's bridge. "High Counselor," she said, her voice shaking. "The humans have destroyed my flagship." Yethmon felt ice in his veins. "Are you injured? Where are you transmitting from?" "I'm on an escape pod. They didn't try to kill us. They used some kind of weapon that shut down all our systems. When we couldn't move or fight, they transported our crew to safety and then destroyed the empty ships." General Croth leaned forward. "How many ships did you lose?" "All of them. 67 vessels. The humans have some kind of technology that turns off our engines, our weapons, our life support, everything. We couldn't even send a distress signal until they let us." The transmission ended, leaving the two leaders staring at each other. If the humans could disable entire fleets without killing anyone, traditional warfare was impossible. "They're not trying to destroy us," Yethmon realized. "They're trying to capture us." Meanwhile, in the Nexus Gate system, the most important trade route in the galaxy, the first major battle was beginning. Council Admiral Zexoth had gathered over 200 ships from 5 different species. He believed that concentrated firepower could overwhelm even advanced human technology. But as his fleet approached the gate, space itself seemed to bend around them. The human ships appeared from nowhere, materializing out of what looked like empty space. They moved in perfect formation, their hulls glowing with energy fields that made Council sensors go crazy. "All ships open fire," Admiral Zexoth commanded. Thousands of energy beams lanced out toward the human vessels. But instead of hitting their targets, the beams curved away, bending around the human ships like water around stones. The humans had somehow learned to warp space itself for defense. The human response was swift and devastating. Weapons that looked like controlled lightning reached out and touched Council ships. Instead of explosions, the touched vessels simply stopped. Their engines died, their lights went out, their weapons powered down. In seconds, they became floating metal shells. "What kind of weapon is that?" Zexoth demanded. His science officer studied the readings with growing amazement. "Sir, they're using quantum field manipulators. They can shut down any technology that relies on electromagnetic fields. That means everything we have." One by one, the Council ships went dark. The humans didn't destroy them, didn't kill their crews. They just turned them off like switching off lights. Within an hour, Admiral Zexoth's mighty fleet was nothing but dead metal drifting in space. A human ship approached his disabled flagship. A voice came over the communication system, clear, calm, and speaking perfect galactic common. "Admiral Zexoth, this is Captain Chen of the human ship Defiance. We're sending shuttles to evacuate your crews. You have 5 minutes to gather essential personal items." "You're taking prisoners?" Zexoth asked. "No," Captain Chen replied. "We're saving lives. Your government may be our enemy, but your people are not." As human shuttles rescued the Council crews, explosions lit up space. The empty ships were being destroyed by precise weapons fire. The humans were making sure the Council could not reclaim their vessels. But the most shocking discovery came when the rescued crews were taken to human ships. Instead of prison cells, They found comfortable quarters, medical facilities, and dining halls where human and alien foods were served together. The humans treated their former enemies like honored guests. News of the battle spread across the galaxy instantly. The Council's most powerful fleet had been defeated without a single death. The humans had weapons that could shut down any technology, but they used them to save lives rather than take them. On the rim worlds, long-suppressed populations began to hope. The Vethkari, enslaved for generations, attacked Council outposts with weapons provided by human allies. The Kalari, their trade routes strangled by Council taxes, declared independence and requested human protection. Most surprising of all, some Council species began switching sides. The crystal beings of Vithal's world looked at the evidence of human technology and decided they wanted to be allies, not enemies. They opened their space to human ships and began sharing their own advanced crystal-growing techniques. Commander Veloth found himself in an impossible position. Half his fleet wanted to surrender to the humans. The other half demanded a fight to the death. His own officers were arguing in the corridors of his ship. "Sir," his communications officer reported, "we're receiving a message from the human fleet. They want to speak with you personally." Veloth accepted the transmission. Admiral Rodriguez appeared on his screen, but this time her expression was less hostile. "Commander Veloth," she said, "I've read your service record. You're not like the others. You actually care about doing the right thing." "How do you know about my service record?" Veloth asked. "We've been watching the Council for 500 years. We know which leaders are corrupt and which ones have honor. You've been trying to reform the system from within. But reform isn't enough anymore." Rodriguez leaned forward. "Join us. Help us build something better." "You're asking me to betray my own government. I'm asking you to betray a government that commits genocide and calls it peace." Rodriguez replied, "Your people deserve better leaders. The galaxy deserves better." Veloth considered her words. He had spent decades watching the Council abuse its power, seeing corruption and cruelty disguised as order and stability. Maybe the humans were right. Maybe it was time for change. "What would you want from me?" he asked. "Information, ship positions, supply routes, defense codes. Help us end this war quickly with minimal casualties. And afterward? Afterward, we build a real democracy. Every species gets a voice, not just the powerful ones. No more genocide, no more lies, no more fear." Back on the Council capital world, the government was falling apart. 3 species had already withdrawn from the alliance. Their representatives packed their belongings and fled to neutral space. Others were demanding the immediate arrest of High Counselor Yethmon for war crimes. Yethmon stood in the empty council chamber, looking at the seats where his allies used to sit. 500 years of galactic rule was ending because of a lie that had seemed so necessary at the time. His personal communicator chimed. It was Admiral Rodriguez. "High Counselor," she said, "your 12 hours are up. What is your decision?" Yethmon looked around the empty chamber one more time. "I surrender, but only if you guarantee the safety of Council civilians." "Agreed," Rodriguez replied. "Transport to our ship is ready. We'll conduct the trials fairly according to galactic law." "Whose law?" Yethmon asked. "Yours or ours?" "The law we're going to write together," Rodriguez answered. "Every species, every world, every being will have a say in what comes next." As Yethmon walked toward the transport beam, he felt something he hadn't experienced in centuries. Hope. Maybe the humans would be better rulers than the Council had been. Or maybe they wouldn't rule at all. Maybe they would actually keep their promise about democracy and freedom. Only time would tell. But the galaxy was about to find out. 6 months after the Council's surrender, the galaxy looked completely different. Where once there had been fear and oppression, now there was hope and cooperation. But the biggest change was happening in the Sol system, humanity's original home. Admiral Sarah Rodriguez stood on the observation deck of the massive station orbiting Earth. Below her, the blue and green world turned slowly in space, its surface scarred but healing. Human engineers and alien scientists worked together in the planet's atmosphere, using advanced technology to repair 500 years of damage. "The atmospheric processors are working better than expected," reported Dr. Kezara, the former Council historian who had become the head of the Earth Restoration Project. "We should have breathable air across all continents within 2 years." Rodriguez nodded, but her attention was focused on something else. In the distance, she could see the construction of New Geneva. a massive space city that would serve as the capital of the new Galactic Republic. Unlike the cold, imposing structures of the old Council worlds, New Geneva was designed to be beautiful as well as functional. Gardens floated in zero gravity. Art galleries showcased the creativity of dozens of species. Meeting halls were built for cooperation, not domination. "Admiral," came a voice behind her. She turned to see Commander Veloth approaching. The former council officer now wore the uniform of the Republican fleet, having become one of humanity's most trusted allies. "Any word from the war crimes tribunals?" Rodriguez asked. Veloth nodded. High Counselor Yethmon was sentenced to community service on the refugee worlds. General Kroth got 15 years in rehabilitation. Most of the others received lighter sentences. Good. Justice, not revenge. This had been one of the hardest decisions for the new government. Many humans wanted the council leaders executed for genocide, but Admiral Rodriguez and the other human leaders had insisted on mercy. They wanted to show the galaxy that the new system would be different from the old one. "The Constitutional Convention is ready to begin," Veloth reported. "Representatives from over 300 species are here." Rodriguez smiled. 300 species. The old council had only included 12. Now every world, every population, every group would have a voice in how the galaxy was governed. They walked together toward the main assembly hall, where beings from across the galaxy had gathered to write the laws that would govern their future. The sight was incredible. Towering, crystal beings worked alongside tiny insect-like creatures. Aquatic species in breathing tanks debated with gas cloud entities that existed in special containment fields. At the center of it all sat Dr. Kira Chen, the archaeologist whose discovery had started everything. She had survived the Council's attack on her ship, rescued by a human patrol that had been monitoring the situation. Now she served as the convention's chief coordinator, making sure every voice was heard. "Order, please," Chen called out as Rodriguez and Veloth took their seats. "We're here to address the final question. What kind of government will we create?" The debate that followed lasted for hours. Some species wanted a strong central authority to prevent chaos. Others demanded complete independence for their worlds. A few suggested dividing the galaxy into separate zones based on species type. Finally, an elderly Vethkari named Seer Veltana stood to speak. Her people had been enslaved by the Council for generations, used as manual laborers and treated as property. Now she was one of the most respected voices in the convention. "We have spent too long being ruled by fear," she said, her telepathic voice reaching every mind in the hall. "The Council told us that order required submission, that peace required silence. They were wrong." She gestured toward the humans in the audience. "These beings showed us something different. They could have conquered us easily. Their weapons could have made them the new masters of the galaxy. Instead, they asked us to be partners." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the hall. "I propose we create something that has never existed before," Veltana continued. "A government based on cooperation, not control. Where decisions are made by discussion, not force. Where every being has the right to speak and be heard." The debate continued for days, but gradually a consensus emerged. The new Galactic Republic would be a federation of free worlds. Each planet would govern itself, but they would work together on issues that affected everyone: trade, exploration, defense, and justice. There would be no single ruler, no high council with ultimate power. Instead, decisions would be made by elected representatives who could be removed if they failed to serve their people's interests. Most importantly, there would be laws preventing any one species from dominating the others. The genocide that had been attempted against humanity could never happen again. As the Constitution was finalized, Admiral Rodriguez found herself thinking about the long journey that had brought them here. 500 years ago, her ancestors had fled a dying world, carrying nothing but hope and determination. They had hidden in the darkness, building a new civilization in secret. Now their descendants stood in the light, helping to build a better galaxy for everyone. "Admiral Rodriguez," came a familiar voice. She turned to see Captain Marcus Webb, now wearing the insignia of the Republican Fleet's Exploration Division. "Marcus, how are the new missions going?" "Better than expected," he replied with excitement. "We've made contact with 16 new species in the Outer Rim. Most of them want to join the Republic immediately." This was another change from the old system. Instead of waiting for species to develop space travel and discover the galactic community, The Republic was actively seeking out new civilizations and offering them friendship and support. Any problems? Rodriguez asked a few. Some species are suspicious because of what the Council did to them. But when we show them the new constitution and explain that they'll have full rights and representation, most change their minds. Webb paused, then added, "There's something else. We found another human colony." Rodriguez felt her heart skip. "Where?" "In the Magellanic Clouds. They've been completely isolated for 500 years. They had no idea the war was over. The discovery of lost human colonies had become common in recent months. The original exodus from Earth had scattered humanity across vast distances. Some colonies had maintained contact with the others, but many had been cut off by space storms, equipment failures, or simple distance. Each rediscovered colony brought new knowledge, new technology, and new perspectives to the growing human civilization. The colony in the Magellanic Clouds had developed unique biotechnology, growing their ships and tools instead of building them. "We need to bring them home," Rodriguez said. "Already working on it, but they want to stay where they are. They've built something beautiful out there. They just want to be part of the Republic while keeping their independence." This was exactly what the new system was designed for: unity without uniformity, cooperation without control. As the months passed, the Galactic Republic grew stronger. Trade flourished between worlds that had never been allowed to interact under Council rule. Scientific discoveries accelerated as species shared knowledge freely. Art and culture bloomed as different civilizations learned from each other. The humans found their place not as rulers but as facilitators. Their unique perspective, shaped by centuries of hiding and watching, made them natural diplomats and mediators. When conflicts arose between species, human negotiators often found solutions that satisfied everyone. But perhaps the most important change was in how the galaxy saw itself. For 3,000 years, the Council had preached that order required hierarchy, that peace required submission. The Republic proved them wrong. Democracy was messy. Debates could last for weeks. Sometimes compromise was difficult or impossible, but the result was a government that served its people instead of controlling them. Admiral Rodriguez often stood on the observation deck of New Geneva, looking out at the stars and thinking about the future. Humanity had come so far from the species that had once fought wars over water and oil on a single planet. Now they were part of something greater, a community of hundreds of species working together to explore the universe and make it a better place for everyone. The galaxy had been told humans never existed. But now everywhere you looked, you could see the evidence of human influence, not in conquest or domination, but in cooperation and hope. The old lie had become a new truth. Humans existed, and their existence had made the galaxy a better place. The species that had been marked for extinction had become the guardians of galactic freedom. And they would never let anyone forget that sometimes the best way to defeat your enemies is to turn them into friends. The stars held infinite possibilities. And for the first time in thousands of years, every species in the galaxy was free to reach for them together.